Hi, I'm Pastor Molly, and today we're talking about the role of spiritual friendship in our spiritual growth and formation. Now, there are many notable friendships and relationships in the Bible that reflect element of accountability, mentorship, and spiritual friendship. But as I perused the scripture, I was drawn to the book of Ruth. Now, at its core, the story in Ruth is about redemption and presents a foreshadowing of Jesus as our kinsman redeemer. But I think that sometimes it gets mistaken as simply a love story between Ruth and Boaz. Verses 16 and 17 of the first chapter are often recited at weddings, symbolizing the oath between husband and wife. And these are beautiful words. This is what it says. It says, "But Ruth replied, 'Don't urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me.'" However, these words were not between Ruth and Boaz. They were between Ruth and Naomi. Now I hope to reveal the deep love and friendship that is found in the book of Ruth. It is a love story about a deep and abiding love between Ruth and Naomi. Their relationship has elements of both spiritual friendship and mentorship. A study of their relationship can give us valuable insight on how to live out the command of Jesus to love one another and thus display our faith in Him. Now, Ruth and Naomi's story is found in the Old Testament. It's sandwiched between the book of Judges and 1 Samuel, in the book bearing the title Ruth. It's a snapshot of life during the time of Judges, when Israel and Moab were experiencing a temporary time of peace. Now, this is significant because Ruth was a Moabite and Naomi an Israelite. Naomi and her family transplanted to the land of Moab during a time that Israel was experiencing famine. It seems that not long after they entered the land of Moab that Naomi's husband died, but her 2 sons remained. They settled in, and each of her sons married a local Moabite woman. This is where Ruth enters the story, as the Moabite wife of one of Naomi's sons. The scripture tells us that they lived there about 10 years, and then both of Naomi's sons and Ruth's husband died. And this is how we're introduced to Naomi, a woman in a foreign land, widowed, then deprived of her 2 sons, and her source of security and support. This series of tragic events is best described by Naomi herself when she says, "Don't call me Naomi. Instead, call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty." She changed her name from Naomi, which means my delight, to Mara, which means bitterness. Naomi needed a friend. Now, our introduction to Ruth is not as detailed, but we can gain good insight from the details that we do have. First, we learn that Ruth is a Moabite who's married to one of Naomi's sons, sometime during that 10-year stretch in the land of Moab. Ruth was young, at least young enough to be married again and have children. But what we can learn most from reading her story is her strength of character and her faith in God. While she also found herself widowed, her situation was different than Naomi's. She was in her homeland, among her family and her own people. She had a chance to start over. And that is what Naomi offers both of her daughter-in-laws. Naomi didn't hold out any hope for herself. So she encouraged Ruth and her other daughter-in-law, Orpah, to return to their own families, because that was their only hope at finding security and rest. Now, Orpah said a tearful goodbye, but Ruth remained. When Naomi urged her again to return to her own family, Ruth answered with those beautiful words that we mentioned earlier. "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Now, it's tempting to see the relationship between Naomi and Ruth as a mentorship, and only a mentorship, because Naomi was older and in a position of leadership as Ruth's mother-in-law. But our introduction to their relationship reveals a true friendship. It was Naomi who was in the depths of despair, feeling forsaken and without hope. And it was Ruth who displayed a depth of faith and hope that would help sustain Naomi and keep the light of hope before her. Now, where did Ruth learn to have such faith? No doubt it was from Naomi herself. It was Naomi's faith that inspired Ruth to have a faith of her own. And then as Ruth and Naomi journeyed into their unknown future, they had each other. And when one's faith faltered, the other's was big enough for them both. And God was in the midst of it all. By honoring Naomi, who had nothing to offer, Ruth honored God. And in turn, God honored them both, counting Ruth into the lineage of Christ. Now, what stands out to me the most in this story is the level of commitment displayed in the relationship between Ruth and Naomi. This kind of commitment is not easy, especially when it seems like there's nothing in it for me. Ruth does not abandon Naomi when there's no longer any clear benefit to the relationship. It's likely that Ruth's response is a result of Naomi's display of love and commitment to Ruth in years prior. Even Naomi's words urging her daughter-in-laws to go back to their families were out of a desire for what was best for them and reveals her love and commitment to them. Now, a second thing to note is that Naomi only got a 50-50 return on her investment in her relationships. She had 2 daughter-in-laws, but only one stayed. Sometimes we don't take the risk of investing in others because we're unsure of our return. But this story highlights 3 things about investing in relationships. Number 1, a true friendship goes much deeper than just what we think we can get out of it. Number 2, Naomi and Ruth got far more by sticking together than they could ever have apart. Life is better in togetherness. And number 3, God is honored when we honor each other. Ruth's commitment to Naomi is a tangible testament to her faith in God. Now, in the friendship of Ruth and Naomi, we can see the pivotal role that friendship can play in sustaining us in uncertainty, darkness, and despair, as well as in sharing the joys and blessings that God gives us. I want to encourage you to evaluate your relationships. Who are you investing in, and who's investing in you?